Hey guys, glad you're here. Today I bring you a little gem of a video that made me remember that I don't know if I had a magnet for running into crazy teachers, but at my school I had 3 who seemed like divine punishment. One accused me of hacking the whole school because of a cursed USB, another made me confess my love to a girl in front of everyone, and if you think that's over the top, just wait for the last one. That one really left me with no dignity. At my school, there was a computer teacher who was totally obsessed with viruses. One of those guys who didn't just take care of the computers, he worshipped them. The guy talked about USB drives as if they were live grenades, and every time he saw someone else's, he'd look at you like you were about to take down the Pentagon from the computer lab. And me, since I've always had really bad luck getting into trouble, I ended up being his perfect scapegoat without even trying. Because one day, just for bringing a borrowed USB from Panza's to print an assignment, that guy swore I had hacked the whole school. And I ended up standing outside the lab with a poster that said, "Don't bring in infected flash drives." Half the middle school watched me walk by like I was the creator of the USB version of COVID. The problem was that day I had a PowerPoint assignment that was worth a lot, and since my home printer was deader than my motivation to study, I took a USB drive that Panza's lent me and thought, whatever, I'll just plug it in quickly, print, and that's it. We entered the classroom, the teacher took attendance, and I sat at the back computer, plugged in the USB drive. Everything seemed normal at first. But after 3 seconds, the screen froze, then a window popped up by itself, then another, and suddenly the wallpaper changed to a white horse running with some really awful indie music playing. I was frozen. Panza's turned to look at me, laughing his head off. Cachet started saying, "Are we screwed?" Then the computer next to me also froze. And then the next one, and then the next one, and then the one after that, until the same hellish horse started appearing on 5 computers. The teacher hears the commotion, turns around, sees me with the USB in my hand, and yells like a villain who's been caught, "Unplug it, Manuel, unplug it." I pull it out right away. But it was already too late because one computer started opening like 20 Internet Explorer windows and another one restarted by itself. Then the whole classroom started looking at me like I had just launched a missile. A girl even put away her phone as if the virus could spread just by being near me. The teacher came in sweating, took the flash drive from me with 2 fingers like he was looking at a used diaper and told me, "Go to the principal's office right now." I kept telling him, "Teacher, I didn't do anything. The flash drive isn't even mine." But the man was already in cyber FBI mode. He took me out of the classroom, called the systems coordinator, and while we waited for the IT support guy, he put the S poster in my hand so it would teach me a lesson. No way. There I was, standing outside, looking like a tech thief, watching the freshmen walk by, staring at me, reading the poster and cracking up. One of them even asked me, "Did you take down the IRS?" Someone else told me, "Say hi to Anonymous for me." Inside, I wanted to die, but the worst was yet to come. The coordinator showed up, a really calm guy who looked like a computer doctor. He grabbed the USB, plugged it into another isolated computer, checked it thoroughly, and said, "It's clean." And at that moment, I felt like God kissed me on the forehead. I even turned to look at the teacher with a look that said, "I told you, man," thinking he was going to apologize to me right there. But just when it seemed like I was already saved, a lab printer started spitting out pages on its own, and not normal ones, just prints of a muscular monkey with black sunglasses that said, "You've been hacked." The teacher turned pale and said, "See? It activated afterwards." And I had genuinely thought I was already out of the woods. But no, I fell right back in. I was already imagining myself suspended, expelled, or working as a cybercriminal. Until the coordinator asked to check the teacher's main computer. And that's when the most beautiful twist of my life happened. He checks the history and finds a page downloaded the previous night that said something like this: "Pack of 500 3D screensavers, free, fully in Spanish, virus-free," and the coordinator went silent for 2 seconds, then turned to the teacher and asked, "Did you download this?" And the whole class was peeking in from the door. The teacher started to stammer, saying he just wanted to make the computers more fun. But it was too late because the coordinator opened the downloaded folder and it was full of horses, buff monkeys, dancing teddy bears, and an installer full of malware. The animal? I mean, he humiliated me in front of the whole school for a virus that he himself put in by wanting to pimp out Windows, like a chamoy stand. In the end, they took away the poster board, gave me back my honor, and the teacher was nicknamed Torrentencio for the whole year. And the best part was that every time a computer froze, someone would shout, "It wasn't Manuel, it was the horse." And if you think being labeled as an international hacker was already humiliating, just wait, because the next teacher didn't want to punish me. She wanted to ruin my dignity in front of the whole school. Subtitled by We've all had that teacher who feels like they own your dignity, but in my case, I had a teacher who one day made me confess my love to a girl in front of the whole school. And no, I wasn't in love or anything, the lady was just out of her mind. I just wanted to survive Monday without getting a report sent home. It all started because the civics teacher was one of those ladies who walked around like she had a military soundtrack playing in her head, and she had a really messed up rule. If she caught you talking in class, she'd punish you by making you comb hair during the flag ceremony. And since I would talk even to the trash can, one Friday she saw me talking with Salamandra and said, "Perfect, Manuel, on Monday you're going to give the civic reflection." I laughed, thinking it was just an exaggerated threat, until Monday when she grabbed my arm as I walked in, handed me stapled cards and said, "Read these exactly. Don't make things up, stutter, or make me look bad." From that moment, I was already scared because talking in the classroom was fine, but speaking in the courtyard with the whole elementary school lined up, the middle school kids in the back clowning around, and the principal looking like the owner of hell, come on. So they put me up on the stage, put the microphone in front of me, the teacher gives me a sign to start now, and I open the first card. The first line said, "Since I saw you, I knew my heart no longer belonged to me." I froze. I thought, maybe this lady now wants to add some modern reflections, I don't know. The problem was that when I said it, half the school started murmuring. The teacher from below gestured to me. "Go on, go on." So I kept going like a fool. Second card, "Your eyes distract me more than recess." That's when the 6th graders started with the...
Oh, third card, "When you walk past my desk, even my lunch gets nervous."
At that moment, I just wanted the earth to swallow me up and spit me out in Dubai, because I could clearly see that little Marianita, the most studious girl in the class, was turning as red as a tomato while her friends pushed her and she was dying of laughter. I mean, it wasn't a civics speech, it was a school love letter on steroids. And I tried to stop and look at the teacher so she could save me, but the lady thought I was just trying to be funny and she yelled at me with gestures, "Read!" So I accidentally doubled down and dropped the final line that said, "If you give me a chance, I promise to even share my cream and spice sabritas with you." No way, the whole playground exploded. Some were clapping, others were shouting, "Look at that, look at that." The teacher took off his glasses like he wanted to unsee what had happened, and Marianita just wanted to disappear. I was already officially humiliated, buried, and cursed. But then the most beautiful thing happened. The teacher came over furious to take my cards, she checks them, and she turns pale. The teacher had confiscated those little sheets from Kalaka on Friday because he wanted to pass them to Marianita. And since both things were stapled on identical little cards, that damn idiot gave me the letter instead of the civics speech. I mean, she used me as a premium messenger pigeon in front of the whole school, and did she apologize? Of course not. She just said, "There was a mix-up. Go back to your classrooms." And I was like, yeah, right. Since that day, they stopped calling me Manuel for about 2 months and started calling me the civics poet, and it pissed Kalaka off so much that she even confronted me. "You went way too far. You stole my canon event." But if accidentally confessing my love to a girl was already way over the top, what happened next was sports-themed humiliation. Because a teacher turned me into a walking billboard for embarrassment. We've all had that PE teacher who doesn't seem like a teacher, but more like a retired soldier with unresolved issues. At my school, we called mine the sergeant because he only spoke by yelling. He blew his whistle like he was training the national team and had a really twisted philosophy. According to him, shame built character. And he tried to use his favorite method on me the day I forgot my uniform. Because that guy hung a sign on me that said, "I forgot my uniform." And he made me run around the whole school like I was some kind of walking warning. The thing is, I didn't even forget it because I was careless. My mom had washed it the night before and it was still damp in the morning, so I went in sweatpants thinking, whatever, I'll just explain it. Yeah, right. The sergeant would spot an excuse and heat up like a toaster. As soon as he saw me lined up in sweatpants, he walked over slowly, scanned me from head to toe like a judge at a contest and said, "You're pretty comfortable, aren't you?" I explained about the wet uniform, but the man didn't even let me finish.
He went to a little storeroom he called Lost and Found and came out with 2 things that looked like they were straight out of a school punishment movie.
Some huge fluorescent shorts like something an athletic clown would wear, and a poster board tied with a string. On the poster board, written in red marker and letters as big as a debt, it said, "I forgot my uniform." And I thought it was just a threat to scare me, until he put the shorts over my pants, then hung the sign on my chest and shouted, "3 laps around the school so you stop being so forgetful, no way." At that moment, I knew my dignity was going to die jogging. I took off, red with anger, while chuletas and panzas were already doubled over with laughter. I barely made it through the first lap. even though the shorts kept slipping down and I was running with one hand holding them up and the other grabbing the sign so it wouldn't choke me. The real humiliation began near the elementary school where a kid read my sign aloud and another yelled, "He forgot it!" He forgot it, and in 10 seconds, there was already a little group of kids following me like I was a couple mascot in an anniversary race. I was thinking it couldn't get any worse, but on the second lap, I had to pass by again. Right where the girls from the honor guard were practicing, including Marianita, the same one from the previous story. When she saw me with radioactive shorts and the sign hanging, she opened her eyes as if she had seen an embarrassing Pokemon. Her friends started laughing, one even clapped, and I just wanted to sink through the floor. On top of that, since the sergeant felt he wasn't humiliating me enough, he started following me from behind with a whistle, yelling things like, "Knees up!" It was like that man had eggs with a side of hatred for breakfast. And then came the third complication. The worst part of all is that week the whole school was running an anti-bullying campaign. There were posters everywhere that said, "Respect your classmates, don't humiliate, and everyone deserves dignity." I mean, I was jogging, turned into a public joke, and literally right in front of me there was a banner that said, "Stop bullying." When I saw that, I said, well, at least if someone from the administration walks by, their little act will fall apart. And someone did walk by, but not just anyone. The counselor was walking by with two ladies from the education sector who were there to check on the school climate activities. As soon as they saw me walking around with my shame sign, one of them went silent, the other frowned, and the counselor asked, "What's going on here?" I felt like God had finally come down to the field. The sergeant, nervous but stubborn, still tried to save himself by saying, "It's an awareness activity." Awareness my black ass. The counselor saw me sweating with the clown shorts and the cardboard stuck to my stomach and asked me, "Did you agree to this?" I said, "No ma'am, I just forgot my uniform because it was wet." There was a delicious silence. Delicious. One of those silences that smells like someone else's problem. The ladies' faces changed and one of them said, "This is public humiliation, not discipline." In less than 5 minutes, they took the sign off me, sat me down on a bench, and took the sergeant to the principal's office with the whistle still in his mouth. And you know what the best part was? That same week, they made him give a talk in front of several groups about empathy and treating people with dignity. So every time we saw him walk by, instead of calling him teacher, we would quietly say, "The bullying sergeant." And even though he would look at us very indignantly, he never brought out his hellish poster again because his little show cost him more than my wet uniform ever did. And well, my bros, after that I confirmed that at my school they didn't really teach classes, they just held canon events to traumatize you. So tell me down below which of these teachers was the craziest and which one was the worst for you. And if you want me to tell you more stories from school or about anything else, subscribe right now before I run into Sergeant Bullying on the street again.